And the presenter too. I don't have any props. I'm not in my actual band. It will be here in a few minutes when my guys will be here working. So if you hear anything, it's him. Like I said, everything we do, everything from carpet cleaning to upholstery cleaning, such as microfiber. A lot of people think, well, you can't clean microfiber. Yes, you can. We do that. We do ceramic tile, just like in the kitchen in there. And we offer 24-hour emergency service. Now you're thinking, why would I need him at 3 o'clock in the morning? Well, things happen, such as water heater bust, washing machine overflows. Especially if you don't know how to hook it up, please get somebody to hook up the washing machine for you if you don't know how. And please use some channel locks or some pliers to tighten it, because that will pop off. That's a lot of pressure if you don't think about it. Or toilets overflow. We actually did one last week where the guy, he had it's a spare bath, never uses anything like that, the toilet or anything like that, never uses. Well, he went to that spare bedroom, started smelling something, this didn't smell right, walked in there, it had a small leak on the tank in the back. Well, it's just been running into that bedroom for about 3 or 4 days. So check those little things. It sounds minor, and this house is only a couple years old, so things happen, bolts come loose, things like that. So that's the kind of things we do. Or if the kids get into things like markers, they'd like to play with markers or anything like that. They always get sick. A lot of those things go on. Like I said, if you know somebody buying a home, selling a home, you probably, if it's got existing carpet in it, you probably want to have that clean. A lot of your leases, if you're renting an apartment or renting a home, says in small print, if you don't read it, it says you're supposed to return their property minus normal wear and tear the way you received it. So you want to get that deposit back. Because if you're renting a home, sometimes you can pay $1,000 deposit. So you want to get as much of that back as you can. I don't have $1,000 laying around to give away. So that's something to think about too. I think I've told you guys this before, and it happened last week, so I thought about it. I've got several customers that had trouble selling their homes, so they've kept their homes and they're renting them out. Of course, they're not in Clarksville. And some of them hire agencies like, Cry-Like or something to run their homes, and some of them want to do it themselves, which is fine, Well, a lot of them we got a couple live in Texas, and we got this one the other day who lives in Germany. Well, they want to keep an eye on their homes and make sure everything's good to go. So what they do, and they'll pay for it, to have their carpets cleaned for the people. Just about every 6 months or 8 months, keep their house up to date. Well, y'all keep this between us. I'm kind of their eyes for them since I'm in their home. And they'll call me and say, well, how's my house look? If it's trash. Luckily, I haven't ever had one that was that bad, But I'm kind of like their eyes and their ears to see how their homes are being treated while I'm there and stuff like that. So that's something to think about if you do have a home. You don't want to go in there and be too nosy. Have the carpets clean. They can check it out for you to make sure they're being taken care of and stuff. Because, as Larry can tell you, your home is a prized possession. You got a lot in it, so have it taken care of. If you know anybody has any rental property, such as several duplexes, apartments, rental homes, things like that, you're more welcome to clean carpets for them, that kind of stuff. Some I've pinpointed on the last few times is I'm also certified in mold remediation. If that is something that you may have a question about, you can always pull me aside and talk to me more. We do mold removal, mold treatment, anything you can imagine. We'll pull insulation out, whatever's got to be done. We do a lot for several title companies and real estate agencies for closings. You got to have certain things done. If somebody spots mold, you can imagine freaking out. So, and people don't want to work around mold. We did one the other day. A lady's it's an older home. They're getting ready to put the beams, replace the beams in her home. The 3 beams underneath the crawl space. When the guy went to go look at it, he said, before I even get under there, he said, it's got to be killed. He said, I can't work in these conditions. So we come out and do that. Also certified in meth removal. Not a lot of that going on right now. Don't get me wrong, there is a lot of meth going on around here, but little things like the soda pops, what they call little Coke bottle things, we can't make any money off of that. Or if it's in a double wide trailer, I can't make any money off of that. So, but if somebody's got a $500,000 home and their kids go into a crawl space, or somebody's neighbor goes into, I'm saying this because I'm not making these stories up. These are things that happen. A lot of them are set up in crawl spaces of homes, and you may not even know it. You have a meth lab underneath your house. Neighbors' kids go under there and do things like that. I heard of one the other day, I think it was in Smyrna, Smyrna's an empty rental home, and somebody had been sneaking there with a meth lab, and they couldn't find it. Well, the police ended up finding it inside the dishwasher. That's where they hide it. So little things like that you don't think about, but once it's cooked in that home, the entire home is contaminated. So something to think about. If you do have any homes that have been sitting empty for a while, just keep an eye on them. And in the state of Tennessee, on something like that, if your house is condemned for meth, the state takes over your home for up to a year. You have a year to get it taken care of, the clean and removal of that. Once you get it taken care of within that year, the house is released back to you. If not, the state of Tennessee owns your home. So if you owe a couple $100,000 on a home, you do the math and you figure that out, So that's something you need to be very serious. And like I said, it's a lot of kids, teenagers getting real bad with that right now. So I know it sounds crazy, but it's true.
It is.
I'm trying to think what else I'm winging this, so I'm doing the best I can. We do a lot of apartment complexes. That's kind of our bread and butter, that like this place here. Several of our apartment complexes, like if somebody renews a year lease, they'll pay to have carpets cleaned for the people. It's kind of an incentive to keep them there and things like that. Like this place my wife runs, we do that here. We cover Montgomery County, Oak Grove. That's kind of, every now and then we go to Nashville, we got 3 or 4 customers up in Franklin. We'll go up there to these $1 million homes. I don't mind going up to do them, stuff. But we try to stay in this area. You're going to get, and here's another thing. I've been in business since 2003. Back in 2006, 2007, I tried to expand a little bit. Went great, but I didn't have that personal touch. I had more guys spread out doing things, and as we all know, once you start hiring more employees, it makes little things more stressful, and the customers don't get the work that they really should with some employees. So in 2009, I finally just sat down with my wife, had a talk, got rid of everybody, went back to when I was by myself again, downsized my business, a lot happier, and I'm fine with that. So when you call to get something done, you're going to get me. You'll get Joe Blow. Now you will get Benjamin, a kid that works for me. He's with me a lot of times, but you're going to get me to do it and not somebody else. So, and I've got a lot of good relationships with my customers, so I like to keep it that way. We keep our prices fairly reasonable. I would like you to call me back every couple times a year, at least once a year. I don't want you to have to wait 4 or 5 years to save up money and have your carpets clean. So we try to keep our prices fairly reasonable and everything. So, got any questions on anything?
You clean auto upholstery?
I can. I don't advertise it. I do. We can do it. It's not something, nothing against. I can do it. I have 2 torn muscles in my back, so I don't do a lot of upholstery in cars because it's a lot of on your knees, underneath and stuff. So I'll do it for people I know and things like that. But yeah, I can.
What would be your average price on a 3-bedroom,
On a
2-level home?
Well, to say this, we start off our pricing at 2 rooms and a hall. That's what most people. A lot of that's what most people want: 2 rooms and a hall. With us not moving any furniture or anything like that, it's just a basic $50 minimum charge. We have a $50 minimum come out to do anything. So we just start off from there. Now, it goes anywhere from 15 to 25 a room, depending on the size of a room, somewhere around there. We will move furniture. It's a little more just depending on what you want us to move. Now, we don't move electronics or anything like that. We're not going to entertain centers. I'm like Hayes. I'm not very technical, and I'm not going to put it back. As many of y'all know, I just got on LinkedIn. I'm still trying to figure this whole thing out, so I don't do Facebook or anything. So I don't want to disconnect somebody's computer or TV and then have to put it back together, So it just depends, we do, and we also do stairs. Somebody call it, hey, you clean stairs? Well, yeah, as long as they got carpet.
That was my next question.
Yeah, we'll clean stairs and everything. So it just depends on pretty much the size of the room.
And how do you deal with removal of dog hair?
We have what we call a groomer, and we don't bring a groomer with us. We have a thing, it's actually a carpet rake is what they call it. And it looks like a regular rake with plastic spindles on it to where we can rake up the hair. And a lot of times we use it after we clean houses, depending on what type of carpet it is. If it's a heavy nylon polyester carpet, we'll use the groomer after just because it gives it more of a cleaner, plusher look, and it helps it dry a little faster. It lifts the carpet a little better, especially if you got some areas a little worn. Like this carpet, this frige is what they call this. So y'all can tell it looks kind of flat. Now when we clean this about every 3 or 4 months, I'll go over with the rake then. Now I will say this Frige it's a nice carpet, and a lot of homes now are putting it in there, but it's a very high maintenance carpet. And when I say high maintenance, it needs to be vacuumed once a week. Because if you see the little bindings are twisted, if they're not vacuumed, they flatten, and over time they come untwisted. Once they come untwisted, there's nothing you can do about it, and it wears really bad. As you can tell that if you look around, going into that kitchen, there's a walk pad. It looks like cows coming through here all the time. Because they constantly, the maintenance guys go right into the kitchen. So it starts to wear. So I have to, but they vacuum this one, I think, twice a week is what they normally vacuum. We get so much traffic in here, you know. But, I mean, it's a good carpet, but I warn people when they put in their homes, be prepared. Just be prepared, because it's not something, if you neglect it, it's going to, you'll pay for it later.
So people can move back into a meth house?
You can, but it's got to be released back from the state.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it's got to be released back from the state, because what it is, I'll kind of give you the process how it works. Okay, say this is your home right here. Okay, and say that it gets condemned by the police department, and they send it to the state. Okay, say you own the house. Okay, you're going to call us to take care of the clean, because you say I've got 8 months, or the state's going to take my home. What we're going to do is we call in a third party, which is an industrial hygienist. Now, the one I use is out of, was it Union City? Not West Tennessee, Union City. He comes out of there. Let me say, this guy owned his own pharmacy. Meth has gotten so bad, he closed it down. That's all he does now is tests for meth labs all over the southeast.
Wow.
That's how much money he makes. I'm not going to tell you what he charges to come in to actually test, but it's not cheap. What we will do is we'll bring him in. He will test everything out, the entire perimeters, and tell us what everything's reading. We come in, we do all the removal. Most of the time when it comes to meth, anything porous, such as carpet, wood, drywall, it's got to be ripped off, ripped out, cannot be cleaned, okay? The good thing is Bi County here in Clarksville is certified and taking all that stuff, so we don't have to go very far from Montgomery County to get rid of it and everything. When we're done, we have to bring him back in to retest. And once he tests everything, if everything's good, then we send it to the state, and the state can release the home back to you.
So what about their belongings? Does all that have to just go to the dump?
If it cannot be cleaned. So you want to look at the dollar figures. You know, if they want to get your bank, figure out what you own the house, see if it's worth it. That's why when I say a double wide trailer, things like that, depending on what they're worth. Vehicles. Now I have heard it. Some people that had like $85,000 Land Rover. Somebody said they actually had it cleaned one time, but you're looking at, you rip all the seats out, everything, all the carpet, and you're going to put all that back in there. That's why a lot of vehicles, you're better off just to have it demolished. Just don't even worry about it, double wide trailer, if it's not profitable, because, I mean, you're looking anywhere starting out $15,000 to, it could go up to $45,000, depending on what all has to be done on that cleaning.
And I think one time before you said if you were renting the house, then it goes back to the person that owns the house.
Yeah, it goes back to the owner of the house.
Yeah.
So the renter has to be evicted.
Yeah, well, they're pretty much going to jail anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. But they're not
Well,
responsible for paying for
the
it.
kids under the crawl
And I
space.
don't know, and I've talked to several, and you may know more about this. I know they said they've been working on this, about insurance policies on something like that. I don't know. You may know something about that.
I'll check on the meth part, but
Yeah,
if you're gonna be a landlord, you need to. I would strongly recommend you make them have a high
Yeah.
personal liability coverage.
Yes, I don't know a whole lot about the insurance. I've had people ask me it several times, and I don't.
I'll check.
Yeah, that's something to think about, because like I said, you're responsible for it. You own the
Yeah.
house. And that's why you see a lot of people don't realize, I mean, there's several that go in people's crawl spaces.
I'm pretty sure though, if they had like a personal liability policy, then they would, because they damaged the home. So
Yeah.
therefore they're
I think so.
responsible. Yeah.
That's something to think about. I mean, I've got a friend of mine who owns several homes not in rough areas, and he freaks out thinking about it now all the time. So
Tell them to make sure his tenants have insurance.
I don't know. These are some rough areas. So
Yeah.